Carl and Damon here from Games, Brrraains A Head-Banging Life, gbhblofficial for short, and it's They Made What into a TV series as we wrap up Season 1 of Castlevania. It is Episode 4, Monument. Yes, Season 1's only 4 episodes, an introduction to the show, but don't worry, we have 3 more seasons to come after this. We will be covering this all year, probably into next year as well, because they got, obviously, once every 2 weeks. And this episode is directed by Sam Dietz and written by Warren Ellis, kicking off straight away where we left off, with the mob hunting Trevor and the speakers through the town. The bishop. We go to the bishop in the church, who gets a visitor. I love this. The build up to this, the sound of the door opening, the church, the way it's structured, and it's so dark at the end of the hall, and you hear those footsteps, and the bishop's like, who's there and who's there? And we know it's not good, but we also know, well, this is going to fucking fly in the face of religion if it's a demonic creature in the house of God, you say? Yep. Okay, alright, because it is not a welcome one. And I think we might get up here as one of my favourite scenes in the entire season. Yeah. Because it's a night creature. And this one speaks. And the bishop declares, hey, you can't come in here, it's the house of God. But I love its line, God is not here. Yep. And I was just like, yeah, that is beautiful.
Unbelievable, yeah.
Because there's what I love particularly, and basically we have a back and forth between this night creature and the bishop, where it taunts the bishop about God and about belief and all that. And the bishop's faith, he shakes, it wavers, it can't handle such evil in its face. Particularly when he's accused of lying about Lisa, which is important. But my God, the moment when it tells the bishop that it loves him, we love you, because you brought us here. We couldn't be here without you, and takes him in his arms to kiss him. And this is a death where you don't need to see it. No. It cuts away, lets you hear it, but it's what I think is one of the, I would argue, it's twisted. The mindset that wrote that has an imagination where they were like, I want this not just to be evil, I don't want this to be horror, I want this to you to watch it and go, that night creature has a point. Shit. Like, ooh, he's got some important points here.
Exactly.
But yeah, the failure of religion, the failure of faith, that we're here because your evil brings us here.
Exactly.
And that this might be the house of God. He ain't here. He's not here. And maybe you're the reason he's... I mean, my God, that's some twisted shit.
It is proper, yeah.
Brilliant stuff, though, right?
Indeed, yeah.
Yeah, so one dead bishop inside. Gonna be a whole lot of dead people outside. As Trevor races through the town pursued by the mob. He looks to be cornered and is getting ready to fight when a ring of fire surrounds him. And we now get the big reveal of what Cypher is. She is a scholar of magic, a magician, and helps Trevor out.
Must have been. When I first saw it, I thought, that's really not going to help your claim, is it? They already think bloody about witches and magic.
But that's probably why she hid it.
I know. So now they're going to think you're bloody a witch, and they're going to believe the bishop's claims and all that.
Yeah, but who gives a shit at this point, right? No. That's what it is. But she gives Trevor a path out of the mob, and you do kind of get you're right. When Trevor walks through the flames or past the flames, he does it slowly, and he looks at the faces, and there's a mix of revulsion, fear, anger, hatred. There's so many emotions going on. These wonderfully animated faces.
Brilliant,
the animators deserve so much props here. They really do.
Definitely.
But Trevor, on his walks, is one of the head priests, the one that slapped him in the face in the house in the earlier episode. And the amazing goes, look, enough of this. You're the problem. I want to fight you one-on-one. And Trevor taunts him, revealing his sins to the people and that they're to blame. And Trevor's stoutfast and intense speak does seem to get through to people. You kind of see some faces kind of going, because I suspect they know it. Yeah. They know it. But what they needed was a leader. But now the night creatures are coming. They're now seeing what Trevor and Cypher are capable of. Trevor's speak. It tells them that what they know deep down is true.
And obviously, they all know that obviously the history of his family too, so they know that they've in the past protected.
Yeah.
So
if a Belmont says it might hold some weight. You're absolutely right. But this show is obsessed and very obsessed with constantly showing you two sides. And why good and evil are the line between them are very, very thin. Because the people turn on this priest and they kill him. They slaughter him. But it's shot in a way that I think is pretty harrowing.
Proper,
where it's brutal and you're like, well, that's just nasty.
Just before when Trevor's taunting him, you can see the fear, and because he's like, shit, I've got to fucking fight him now.
Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah, I don't want to fight Trevor Belmont. No. Exactly that. But now the night creatures attack fully, and Trevor takes control. He basically steps into his role, ordering the people to fight. His Belmont background properly kicks in, and he turns into a fucking leader.
Proper,
utilising Cypher's magic too. The plan, basically, we're going to make our stand. We're going to fight here. It's a standoff, a Zulu-style movie standoff. I want you lined up here. Yeah. The guy with the spears is like, why have I got to go to the front? And it's like, no, because you've got the spears. You can stop this. It's classic battle tactics.
Yep.
Think about Lord of the Rings, the two towers, the spearmen at the front, all these elements and stuff like that. And I also love that they now offer you an explanation in a brief scene as to why Trevor's whip is so powerful.
Yep.
It's consecrated.
It's good.
That's why it harms
so
demons so easily.
So clever.
It's just there. They have a small battle with a handful of night creatures, but it's... What I love, right, is it's a small battle, but it is incredibly difficult, a difficult win.
The detail, too, in the battle. It literally, you're talking about, it's about a minute long, maybe 2 minutes. And the details, the battle, the ice walls, the salt,
It's just really, really done well. And the ground ends up collapsing under Trevor and Cypher. And they end up in a deeper part of the catacombs, having to make their way out. Guess Gresslit's fuck them, really. But what are you going to do? And in there, they find more of Drax's contraptions. They are forced to run because night creatures pursue them. And they go even deeper to escape them. But the further they go in, the more unstable it becomes. And you start wondering, God, how deep is this place? How deep is it? They end up actually, and this is when we finally really see that it is a machine. They're in the belly of one.
Yeah.
And basically one that's not been used in a while, because the more they try to move through it, the more things collapse. And it's a real difficulty to survive it, moving from these moving gears and jumping. It's very video game, platform-like, I would say. But they do end up in a newly revealed chamber after things break and collapse, and they end up arriving in an ornate room that houses a coffin. You're like, okay, here we go. Did you know what was coming at this point? Because obviously I knew, and I'm like, but what did you think when you see that coffin?
Obviously, I thought it was this obviously Forgotten Soldier. That's what I thought, but I didn't know it was going to be Dracula's son.
Right, Alucard,
I didn't know it was going to be that at all.
Spoilers.
Spoilers. I thought it was going to be some random character.
Okay.
I remember you telling me previously that obviously they introduced 4 characters.
Yeah.
So I was prepared for that. Yeah.
Well, Trevor steps on a pressurized switch which activates the coffin, and out floats, well, Alucard, as we will know him, immediately waking up and demanding to know why they're here. Cypher is in awe, believing him to be the mythical sleeping soldier who will defeat Dracula. Trevor, though, is immediately basically Trevor's like, he's fucking not. And Alucard keeps his head down here, and I love the reveal because Trevor's like, you're not, are ya? And then Alucard just kind of lifts his head and opens his mouth, and you see that he's a vampire. You're like, yeah. And that's enough to frighten Cypher. She realises, this isn't good. Alucard and Trevor talk back and forth about who the Belmonts are, about what Dracula is doing. Trevor reveals to Alucard he plans now to stop Dracula, and that, but also, I'm going to have to kill you too, because that's what I do. And this is a conversation that's done in a calm but wary way. They're both calm, but they're keeping each other on tabs here. And Alucard reveals that I chose to stay here. I didn't want to be disturbed. I set up the defences. All of that was set up by me. And Cypher realises, you're not the mythical you're not the sleeping soldier, are you? Particularly as we find out that he's only been about a year. But we will get a weird explanation as for how that worked and how that legend became. And Trevor and Alucard start a fight with the former, because Trevor's the one that kicks this one off. Trevor's the one that starts this fight. He's like, I'm going to kill you, and off they go. Part of that, though, is because Trevor believes Alucard is Dracula. Because he even says to Cypher, has anyone ever seen Dracula before? No one has seen him. That's why he believes Alucard is Dracula.
I can understand his reasons, and obviously the fact that he's a vampire. He hasn't exactly said, by the way, I'm going to help you.
Yeah, or whatever. But Alucard is what... Alucard is we have good and bad. And then we have Alucard.
He's a damn peel, man.
He's a damn peel. Yeah, he is. He's exactly that.
He's D.
He is that, exactly. And the fight's very, very cool. Alucard fighting one-handed is a ballsy move. It's quite funny. Is that in it? It's just like one arm behind his back. Then there's Trevor kneeing him in the balls, which made me laugh so hard.
It's then a pub fight.
Yeah, exactly. It's Alucard's snarky remark, which is funny as fuck as well. He's like, this isn't a bar fight. And the fight ends because they are quite evenly matched, but the fight ends with Alucard seemingly having won as he's over Trevor. And Trevor kind of goes, well, like, and basically Alucard's like, I could kill you right now. And Trevor's like, oh yeah, but if you do that, you're dead.
Yep.
And then it kind of pans down to reveal that Trevor has stabbed him with a knife by his heart.
Not far enough, though.
But not far enough.
He wants to,
so basically, if Alucard leans forward, it's going in. And they're basically kind of like, well, if I bite you, you're dead.
Yep.
But you're dead too. We kill each other.
Yeah, it's that stalemate, but it's like they both on a hill, they both got to save first. Yeah.
They both got as well trying to act tough here. Do you know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. But basically, it ends with Cypher standing over Alucard, saying, "Look, if you touch him, I'm going to set you on fire." Now, I love Alucard's face here. Is he knows, Damon, I kill him anyway.
Yep.
Like you'll never be quick enough to stop this from happening. Mm-hmm. But he almost relents. He's like, "Okay, you know what? I think I'm going to have to stop for a moment and just take this in."
Time to tell you who I really am.
Yeah, so he steps back and hears, after hearing that Cypher will fight to stop Dracula, he kind of goes, right, cool. You both steadfast in your belief. I believe maybe actually you do want to fight Dracula and maybe possible. And now I am Alucard, Dracula's son. Reveals all of that. He's happy enough to do it. Yep. Alucard. He also reveals that, look, I was actually in this coffin because I'm recovering, and he has a big scar down his chest from the wounds delivered by Dracula back in episode 1 when Dracula attacked him. So that came back here. He is the sleeping soldier. Mm-hmm. But the story came from the future. Hence its age. Mm-hmm. And that will be more developed later on as time travel is an aspect of Castlevania.
I guess that,
But there's also another part that was completely left out for Trevor's benefit. He does ask, well, why didn't you mention that? Particularly like the grandfather and so on, is the part of the sleeping soldier will be met by a hunter who is clearly Trevor Belmont.
Yep.
So that is things, this is how it's supposed to be. And the episode and season ends with Alucard getting dressed and basically the trio going, right, let's go stop Dracula.
Yep.
That's the plan. And that is the end of episode 4 and the end of season 1, as we've now set up, lovely, what's going to happen next, which is the war with Dracula and more. I'm not going to say too much, but let's just say this story runs deeper than you think.
Can't wait.
Yes, indeed. I love it. I just thoroughly enjoy it. I love that, like I said, that while the entire season 1 is set up really for season 2, they used the time perfectly to tell us and say, here's all our characters. Here is Dracula and the whys of what he does. Here is Trevor and the whys of what he does. Here is Cypher, the whys of what she does, and now here's Alucard. Our 4 major players. I will, I don't want to give spoilers because I want you to watch and enjoy it, but you know what I mean? There's a lot more major players to come, of course, as well, but these are our 4 major characters for now. So I'm really satisfied.
Yeah.
And it's going to be good to start season 2.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Indeed.
Episode 4, Monument. You got any thoughts you know what to do? Let us know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked what you saw, please help us out by giving us a thumbs up and hitting that subscribe button. If you really liked what you saw, consider donating to keep the website and channel running by buying us a coffee via our coffee page or picking up some merch from our Big Cartel store. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as via our social media, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, as well as listen to our interviews via SoundCloud, Apple Music and Spotify. Just search for GBHBL. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?